Hey, happy Monday, and we're back.
Hello, welcome in Therapy Flow community.
Hey, if you're new to the community, this is the segment that we are doing every single Monday now, and it's quickly becoming one of our favorites, where we go through live questions that have been submitted, and we answer them to the best of our ability, and hopefully we have some ability. And so, if you're watching this, feel free to post a question, send us a question, shoot us a question, in any way, shape, or form, and hopefully it will make it in our next live segment where we answer your most pressing questions. So, without, too much ado here, let's dive in. Larissa asks us how to get more website traffic.
Great question. Lots of ways. So I think the easiest way to segment this would be the organic methods, the paid methods, and then maybe like the partnership type methods. The organic methods would be things like social media posting, or um, it could be something like SEO. SEO is organic, blogging, creating content, videos that send people to your website. So that's organic. The paid bucket is like advertising. So advertise for traffic. So things like Google ads or Facebook and Instagram ads, social media advertisement, native ads on like BuzzFeed and stuff like that. And then finally, the partnership type bucket is go out, find people who have audiences that you'd like to see your website, and essentially network with them, or see if you can provide some level of value to them, so that way they can send people over to your site. Did I miss anything there, Josh?
Yeah, I think that's the good frame of it. I just want to say if you have ever searched for a therapist, remember what eventually made you land on a specific therapist website. But that's for any product. In this day and age, it's actually harder to get someone to your website than ever before. People don't just naturally be like, "Oh, I'm on Instagram. Yeah, let me like look at this URL that I'm gonna have to manually type in over here, or like go 3 layers deep in order to get to the link in bio, whatever it is." Choose segments that are easier to get traffic for. I think SEO and something like Facebook ads or Google ads are the top two, top three, ways that we see people quickly drive traffic to their website in a matter of weeks or months. So I don't know. Keep that in mind.
How fast do you want it?
Yeah. How fast do you need it? And it kind of ties in to website traffic here. This next question from Rachel, which is, how do you recommend marketing a telehealth practice in multiple states? So we have a lot of practices that we work with that have clinicians in multiple states, and it can be a challenge, whether it's because you don't have a physical brick and mortar location to tie everything to, or you just have quote unquote more ground to cover in terms of the licensures or the clinician types and some of those things.
Yeah, I'd say when it comes down to it, we've seen people like solos that have like the SciPac, or like are in SciPac states where it's like you're in 37 states technically or more. And so like I think my number one point is check how big you are. So have some self awareness. If you're not a massive organization, maybe you're just a solo that has licensure in a few states, I would recommend staying a little bit more focused. And even though you have the ability to work with multiple states, it's okay for you to take it one state at a time.
Yeah.
And so if you're self pay, this doesn't matter so much. But if you're insurance, just go with states that have better compensations, if that's what you're open to. So just focus on marketing and sales activities instead of the states that have better compensation for their um, for being paneled on insurances. And then if you're cash pay, then it doesn't really matter too much, but focus your time and energy maybe on one state, usually the state that you're in, unless there's like a state that you're moving to that you want to build a clientele there or something like that. So you use your best judgment for that, but focus would be my biggest thing. It's going to make your marketing dollars go considerably further.
Yeah. And then the other thing is on a paid ads level, if you want to sort of hack this fast, you just like you can select the entire state for your advertisement to show, like the state of Indiana. You could do Indiana, you could do Tennessee, and you could do Oklahoma. You could select all three states that you are licensed or your clinicians are licensed in to do paid ads. The difficulty there is some offers or some ads that would work in one state might not work in the other state. And so, you might need multiple ad sets or multiple campaigns to kind of crack the code on that process. The clinicians who run advertisements in California and the ones who advertise in Texas versus Florida, they all get different results, right? And so just keep that in mind with that variance. In some ways, you're making it a little bit more complex for yourself, but you can solve this. There's almost any way to take marketing that you're doing and extrapolate it across multiple states, right? You can do that for your SEO. You can do that for your networking. You can do that with fill in the blank, right? You can have multiple zip codes on your listing site profiles. You can segment 5 of your listing sites for several different sites. If there are zip code locking you to one zip code, right? You can have multiple listing sites that spread that ground. So just be like, I'm doing this marketing like Psychology Today or paid ads. How would I duplicate this across multiple states? And when there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, if you're gonna try to push it, paid is easier than organic because
Yeah.
organic, like imagine you're doing SEO, you can kind of be specific to the location, but for the most part, it's like a podcast. You're publishing podcasts, and whoever's listening is listening. So it's not
Yeah.
necessarily
And
Tennessee listeners. So
And to that comment, social media then actually becomes a bigger asset potentially available to you because unlike one clinician or one practice that can only accept clients in a 10-mile radius, that's not how social media works. Or in that state, if you have 5, 10, 20 plus states that you're able to accept clients through, social media will actually benefit you from the spread of the clients if you go all in as a marketing measure through those platforms. Changing tones a little bit, Shelly asks us for top tips increasing revenue and increasing client load outside of a group practice. I really love this question.
wait, it
So
was increasing revenue and client load, or without increasing client load?
without increasing one-on-ones and without going the group practice route. It's a great question for two reasons, I think. Number one is it does speak to the fact that you have limitations on how many one-on-one sessions that you can take, as everyone does. You only have so many hours, and that's how you primarily get compensated as a one-on-one therapy practice, right? And then if you don't have the strong desire to manage a team of 5, 10, 20 plus people to make the group practice route work for you, what are your other options? Let's dig into this a little bit.
I might actually start too with one big recommendation. I think a big indicator for me as a person who's run multiple businesses at once, a big indicator for failure is that you're running multiple businesses at once. So keep that in mind. Don't do something on the side because your first thing wasn't working super well.
Yeah.
So my biggest recommendation, if you want to stay a solo, be a solo and have a practice that's running, your solo practice that's running with good efficiency before jumping into something else. And then the something else's that exist out there, I mean, it could be anything. It could be digital products. It could be, you could try to crack the code on events, like having events, having paid events. You could try going down the coaching rabbit hole. You could go down webinars and course content. You can just have little digital like ebooks. I mean, the list goes on and on. And I mean, you don't even have to be capped in the mental health space if you don't want to be capped in the mental health space.
So
So
before I talked about the options available to you in the mental health space, I actually want to talk about the options available to you not in the mental health space for one big reason. If you're in all things mental health all day, every day, there is a chance you would have more stamina, energy, and insight into doing something like real estate investing or launching a e-commerce business of some kind or doing a different service-based product or fill in the blank. And there are ways to leverage your current profits slash your current income into new and separate businesses that might scale income in a really specific way. If you really wanted to, you could get into crypto trading. I hear that's going well for people right now. Maybe
maybe
not.
don't. Yeah, maybe don't.
Um, but with that, then there are the options that are available to you as a therapist. And you have to look at the requirements that they present to you to make a good selection. If you want to be an online coach, that's going to require you to be online, right? In some fashion or other. The best coaches produce lots of content and guides and books, and they're very promotional, right? They have to be because that's how that business survives. If that's not you, you're probably not going to make a lot of money doing that because that's the skill you need to acquire to make that type of business successful. But we've seen people launch ebooks or physical books. We've seen people do retreats. I think consultation to large corporate companies on whatever your niche and specialty is, but just in the corporate setting, is a huge opportunity that a lot of clinicians can and should push into because that environment needs your emotional intelligence on a macro level versus what you're doing right now as a one-to-one micro level. So I think, there are a lot of options for you, but two things. Number one is make it worth your while. Meaning, is the upside worth the pain you're about to enter into to launch or scale a secondary business? Simply making 250 or 350 on an hour to hour basis doing coaching because you feel like it's justified there instead of 150 or 250 in your other regular one-to-one session therapy business probably isn't going to happen. An extra 5 or 10K a year selling an ebook and investing hundreds or thousands of hours into that might not be worth it. Look look at a thing that you feel like you could go all in on, get over the hurdle and actually scale a little bit with or has a dollar amount next to it that's going to pay big dividends for diverting your attention into a secondary business.
I might add a brass tacks thing. If you're just looking at your practice, and you said revenue, but I think you can even, I think profits you'll be happy with too. Um, Guys, increase how much people pay you, increase how many times they come back, or increase revenue per cost. So increase your margins. So reduce
Yeah.
costs essentially. That's how you take your solo and make it more profitable. Those are the three
Yeah.
ways.
I mean, you could think of it through the lens of imagine if every single person came to you and added $20 an additional cost per week. If you're seeing 20 clients a week for a full year, that'd be an extra about 20K added in revenue this next year. One of the counselors that I know, the way that they did that is they bill insurance for all of the sessions, but they charge their clients an additional $20 for a middle of the week 15-minute check-in that's available to them at any point.
Interesting.
Hey, you can call me on Thursdays between our session, right? And they just kind of do a call hour and they check in with a bunch of their clients. The client uses it, doesn't use it, that's great. But the client's like, yeah, I wouldn't mind like a little midweek check-in. And then that's a cash pay element in their insurance-based practice. And he adds tens of thousands of dollars in revenue with very little incremental time and no billing fuss.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I think this kind of bleeds appropriately into how to create compelling group offers. And I think when we talk about offers, you can apply this to your group, and there's a couple different ways that we can segment this. More and more and more, having what we call a good offer is going to be really important to having successful marketing, especially if it's a cash pay product, right? What is the offer of that weekly check-in, right? Something is being offered there. Yes, the weekly check-in, but hey, for whatever it is, $20, I can provide midweek relief, midweek support, a midweek check-in, a midweek fill in the blank for something that that set of clients desperately needs, and is willing to pay a reasonable amount for it. And so I think when we pick apart offers here, that's at the core of it. Is are you clearly communicating that the thing you're doing is going to fulfill a need that they want with a value that meets the price points or exceeds the price point?
Yeah, I like talking about groups sometimes. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt to talk about groups, and it's because a lot of people don't want to be served in groups.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the biggest things is, are you serving your marketplace the way that they want to be served? Um, Even bigger than an offer, I would say, is do they want it? Do they want the thing that you have? Because maybe you need to rethink your group. Maybe you need to rethink your group and your group strategy. If people don't want the thing that you're doing, it doesn't matter what offer you give them. You could give it all for free. It could be insane amounts of value, but if they don't want the thing, they won't take it. Um, we've learned that the hard way. So keep that in mind. Are you serving the people the way that they want to be served? And then as far as offers go, can you increase increase the perception of achievement for their dream value, increase the perceived likelihood of achievement by working with you and your group? Can you decrease the time delay between some type of result in some capacity? And can you reduce any effort or sacrifice that's perceived from their end? And those are all how you're going to create a good, valuable offer, but they have to want your thing first.
Yeah. And I think sometimes you can reframe the thing that you're offering them not as a consolation prize, because that sometimes happens is, oh, we're full, like join our group as a
Do you want to be?
consolation prize, or oh, this is great, I make a lot of money, join this because this works great for me, right? This is a good format for me to scale my income. And it doesn't serve the client best. And so my last comment, and Attila, you were saying this, but if you're going to launch a group, launch it as a service type that would make sense for someone to be served in a group setting, right? Because if you do that, then it will be much more logical buy. A couple other questions as we kind of wrap up our time here today. Sam asks us best tips for a newly licensed therapist wanting to start a private practice. And I'm going to tie this with the next question from Hannah as well, which is I don't want to accept insurance. I'm thinking I'm not going to when I launch my practice. How do I market for that? So I'm tying those together because it answers the question the way I want to answer it. And Natalia, you can hop in however you want to answer it. If you're a new private practice owner, and this applies to both of you, the number one thing I would recommend is to learn how to market your practice. There are a lot of things you need to learn how to do, but the number one thing is you need to figure out for clients to find you and how clients to consistently find you. You will never have a consistent business unless you crack the code on marketing, unless you have marketing that flows new clients into you. And we use the word marketing, but this is new inquiries. This is client acquisition. This is, there's a lot of terms to bake into this. People contacting you, right? And there's lots of ways to successfully market. And we have a lot of great content on how to do that. But at the end of the day, you will have a successful private practice, most likely, pretty confidently. Any practice owner who I've met that has figured out how to market their practice has had a successful private practice. They've inadvertently figured out the sales and they've inadvertently figured out the operations and the fulfillment of their service because they have people contacting them wanting it. Figure that out. You're probably going to do well for yourself. And the same thing is true if you don't want to accept insurance, even more so, is you have to figure out the marketing equation because you're going against the grain. Most people want to pay insurance or use insurance and not pay cash. So marketing and healthy marketing and client acquisition is the key to unlock the door for a successful private practice.
Yeah, I think the only couple things I might add is you have a really big strength in that you're empty and that you're new, and you have a really big weakness in that you don't know how your potential clients may interact with the private practice. And I'm going to say something that might seem radical, but don't be afraid to maybe try giving your services away for free. Don't be afraid to get a little bit sticky with it because, to be honest, you're going to learn a lot about what it takes to market and sell a therapy service. And I think in a lot of ways, like just for a few clients, right? We don't have to go crazy, but just for a few clients, try it. You're going to realize that some people won't want your service for free. Why? Because there's other costs inherent to purchasing mental health services other than the actual dollar sign. And so if you want to know how to sell your services with cash, if you want to start a private practice, you have to know the clients that you're serving. You have to know the clients that you're serving. You have to know that you have to understand and recognize the pains that they're feeling. And guys, it's not always about money. It's not always about money. If you're newer, I say free, but you could do it for a reduced rate even, and you'll get people in the door. Hey, I'm new. I'm starting out my private practice. I'm interested in helping 5 people get started today with therapy for a really reduced rate because I want to start serving the community in this capacity. Here's my rate. I'd love to talk to you. Get some people in. You're gonna see their pains, their problems, their this, their that, the other. Obviously, you can qualify people. They should be your ideal fit. You don't have to take just anyone and everyone, but they should be a good ideal client for you. And then start keeping a journal, start keeping a notepad of what it is that they want, what problems they have. etc. That's going to help
Yeah.
you move forward way faster than someone who's trying to come out of the gate 250 a session, never done it before, and is unrelenting.
Yeah. So we're going to end today on the last question. We actually got this from Instagram earlier today, which is, what do you think is the best way to market your practice for therapists? And it's an iteration of a lot of the questions we got today and in general, and I want to answer it in a slightly different way. The best way to market your practice, asking it in that way is kind of like, oh, what's the best diet, or what's the best way to work out, or where's the best place to live? There are a limited number of options that are successful out there if you actually dig into it enough, but there are a lot of options. So just like shooting from the hip, I don't have a great answer for you because there's so little information here. However, two things come to the surface. The best way to market your practice is the one that you're going to do and go all in on until it starts working for you. Don't run Facebook ads for 1 month and then give up because you got lackluster results and move on to something else. Don't post 7 social media posts. Don't sit into Psychology Today for your 6-month free trial, like, and throw your hands up and be like, marketing doesn't work. Oh, this didn't work, right? Did you slow down and figure out what it took to be successful through that channel? And did you figure it out and see success through in that channel, right? The marketing that's going to work is the one you're going to follow through on for the length of time until it rewards you. So that's kind of big step number 2. With that, if you Google marketing for therapists, there's going to be a million blogs and websites and some of our videos even that come up that are generally going to say all the same things, right? SEO, paid ads, listing sites, networking,
Social media.
everything else. It's not new information, but how you apply it, how fast you apply it, and how precise you apply it in those sectors is going to be what makes the difference. And just as, quick, if you're listening to this and you're like, man, what does Therapy Flow do or how we can help? That's how we help, is we help you apply precisely in the correct order of things, build the marketing, build the sales, build the operations to help your practice grow. So shoot us a message, reach out to us if you want to learn more about our flagship program where we help counselors in a 4 to 8 month time frame radically transform their practice and build good businesses. And for everyone else, shoot us more questions, participate in our Facebook group. What do you got for us, Attilio?
Sorry, what was that?
I said, what do you got for us as we end today?
Really, that's it, guys. I love what Josh said. He hit it right on the nose. If you've heard that it works, it probably works. When I hear best, I hear fast. And when I hear fast, I hear it's probably going to sink because you have unrealistic expectations, especially the first time around doing something. And so when I hear fast, I also hear how can I cut time off of my time to result, and that's pay money for it. Pay money either for knowledge on how to do it or pay money on ads and just get the feedback quick. Honestly, like if you want 500 people or 1,000 people to see your thing and you want feedback on it instantly, spend $10 on Facebook ad. It'll get to 500 or 1,000 people. You can see if your thing works or if it's bad. So,
and as a final anecdote, every week I feel like we launch something to try and get feedback on and see if it works or not. And I'd say more often than not, it doesn't. And that's okay, right? And then we change something, we iterate something, and it works a little bit more the next time. And that is the true secret to marketing, is quickly learning from what doesn't work and building something that works a little bit better the next time you launch it.
stop gambling, start marketing.
I like that. Stop gambling, start marketing.
Yeah. Oh,
We'll
that's
see you
all I
guys
got,
next time.
guys.